Kamala Harris's 60 Minutes interview just wrapped, and I want to bring you my favorite moments from the interview. It was amazing. She did a great job. But interestingly, this is the first time in the program's history that both candidates didn't appear because Donald Trump agreed to it and then backed out. And then 60 Minutes addressed that first thing at the top of the program. Watch this.
A week ago, Trump backed out. The campaign offered shifting explanations. First, it complained that we would fact-check the interview. We fact-check every story. Later, Trump said he needed an apology for his interview in 2020. Trump claims correspondent Leslie Stahl said in that interview that Hunter Biden's controversial laptop came from Russia. She never said that. Trump has said his opponent doesn't do interviews because she can't handle them. He had previously declined another debate with Harris, so tonight may have been the largest audience for the candidates between now and Election Day.
So in that one-minute segment, the largest audience since the debate learns that one, Trump is a liar, two, that he's too scared to just show up and talk to the American people, and that three, Kamala Harris is actually strong and a leader and is willing to show up and not only speak to reporters, but really, frankly, speak to Americans. So let's listen to what she has to say to all of us. Okay, so maybe not the most substantive question she's asked, but I just love when she talks about having a gun because it just goes against everything people think about Democrats.
But you recently surprised people when you said that you are a gun owner. And then if someone came into your house...
That was not the first time I've talked about it. That's not the first time I've talked about it.
So what kind of gun do you own, and when and why did you get it?
I have a Glock, and I've had it for quite some time. And, I mean, look, Bill, my background is in law enforcement. And so there you go.
I have a Glock. 500 electoral votes. Here she is talking about how Trump backed out of the interview. If you listen, she echoes a lot of what she said in the debate.
Sitting here with us. Mm-hmm. The Trump campaign canceled an interview that they had agreed to participate in this broadcast. What do you make of that?
If he is not going to give your viewers the ability to have a meaningful, thoughtful conversation, question and answer with you, then watch his rallies. You're going to hear conversations that are about himself and all of his personal grievances. And what you will not hear is anything about you, the listener. You will not hear about how he's going to try to bring the country together, find common ground. And Bill, that is why I believe in my soul and heart the American people are ready to turn the page.
I hope so. I'm interested in what all you think in the comments. I mean, I feel like I'm too in my DC bubble. So if you live in a swing state, I would love to know what you think. But it feels like people are sick of Trump. It feels like they are sick of him, that they just want to move on. It seems like they're not sick of the policies. Like when we were watching the debate with J.D. Vance, it seems like they are more ready and willing to accept the MAGA policies with a smile that's polite, but they just don't want Trump associated with it. So that's a problem for tomorrow, but my hope is that they're just sick of Trump. All right, I love this question about Ukraine. I think we can never forget about Ukraine. Ukraine is in a war because of Russia. Russia invaded a country, a democracy, unprovoked. Donald Trump would hand Ukraine to Putin the day he became president.
What does success look like in ending the war in Ukraine?
There will be no success in ending that war without Ukraine and the UN Charter participating in what that success looks like.
Would you meet with President Vladimir Putin to negotiate a solution to the war in Ukraine?
Not bilaterally without Ukraine, no. Ukraine must have a say in the future of Ukraine.
As president, would you support the effort to expand NATO to include Ukraine?
Those are all issues that we will deal with if and when it arrives at that point. Right now, we are supporting Ukraine's ability to defend itself against Russia's unprovoked aggression. Donald Trump, if he were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. He talks about, oh, he can end it on day one. You know what that is? It's about surrender.
Absolutely. I don't want to focus on that last bit, but I just want to focus on that first half. That she seemed presidential as hell in that first half. And I will say in much of this interview, it feels like she's done the thing. I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but I just think women in this country have had the hardest time of just feeling like a woman could look presidential, whatever the hell that means, right? And I think Kamala Harris has achieved that. I don't know how, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know if it's just that it feels like the country is ready or because she's vice president. So there's this, she has the air of the office around her anyways. I don't know what it is, but it's also, it's not even just the look of it, but it's also, she has the authority and the command of the facts and the leadership. And I think this, I really do think this interview, a lot of people are going to see this interview. It's going to make a big difference. And now I know we are in a disjointed media ecosystem now, but it all makes a difference. And I think this her answer here about is kind of a gotcha question. She was asked about she's called Donald Trump racist, and she was asked if Donald Trump is racist. She was asked if Donald Trump is racist, what does that make the people who support him? Like, what? That's not fair. That's not a fair question, but she handled this great.
You have accused Donald Trump of using racist tropes when it comes to Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, when it comes to birtherism, when it comes to Charlottesville. In fact, you have called him a racist and divisive. Yet Donald Trump has the support of millions and millions of Americans. How do you explain that?
I'm glad you are pointing these comments out that he has made that have resulted in a response by most reasonable people to say it's just wrong. It's just wrong.
With so many people supporting Donald Trump, a man you've called a racist, how do you bridge that seemingly unbridgeable gap?
I believe that the people of America want a leader who's not trying to divide us and demean. I believe that the American people recognize that the true measure of the strength of a leader is not based on who you beat down, it's based on who you lift up.
Okay, so a couple points from that clip. One, she did not go where that interviewer, where the reporter wanted her to go. She stayed in her own lane. She stayed where she was comfortable and where it was politically safe, which was so smart. You never want to attack voters. Never attack voters. When you are looking for someone's vote, you never want to attack a voter because you can always be attacking someone who might potentially vote for you. So if you're attacking someone who is supporting Trump, you could be attacking someone who could be voting for you. So that's first off. Secondly, so this idea of like America wants to be unified. I do think we'll see what happens in November, which is in 29 days. I do think that will, if she wins, and I hope she does, I think that will be the story of the election, is that was the message that America was wanting. I think the VP debate actually was like foreshadowing of that. When people were like, oh, this is kind of nice. Like, I mean, it's gross that JD Vance was lying through his teeth and that he was selling MAGA with a smile. That aside, I think it was really interesting that people were like, oh, remember this? This used to be how it was. You know, and I think people were like, oh, I kind of missed that, So I kind of feel like people are like, I just want that again. And I think that's what this campaign is offering. So this is the beginning of a media blitz for Kamala Harris and the Harris campaign. It's incredibly smart. It's exactly what they need to be doing as voters are starting to go out and early vote. They need to see the candidate, hear her ideas, get a sense of her. I mean, I know you and I have been paying attention to this election for 2 years, but most people are paying attention just starting now. Can you believe that? So this is just the beginning of their media blitz. She's going to be on Howard Stern. I believe she's going to be on The View. She was just on this very popular podcast called Call Her Daddy, which is very popular among Gen Z and millennial women. So, and if anything great comes to those interviews, I will be sure to bring it to you first. So be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.
I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?